Yo, what's going on, y'all? Another episode of Got the Status. Make sure y'all like, share, and subscribe to the Boss Status Worldwide YouTube page. This is where it's gonna be. Right now, we broadcasting live on my personal Facebook. So make sure y'all tap in. We got a real special guest today. He my brother-in-law, but for the interview purpose, I'm gonna act like I'm just meeting him for the first time type situation. So he a good dude. He here to talk about a lot of valuable things from the powers of meditation, grounding, to becoming vegan, to his spiritual journey, to his newfound brotherhood in Austin, Texas. From him moving from coast to coast, he got a lot of things going on, and I just want to share my platform with him so he can share his knowledge with the world. My people and his people, we're gonna combine, and hopefully we can bring him on. We can bring him on for more episodes. So right now I'm gonna introduce him. His name is Erik. He go by at EriksEnergy on Instagram. Tap in. He got a decent following. He climbing up. He working. He working real hard on what he preaching. So we about to let him in and let y'all meet him.
What's good? What's good?
That's the word. Let the people know what's going on, man.
Man, it's a beautiful day to be alive. You know what I'm saying? That's a phrase I've been telling myself a lot lately, but especially being out here back in Texas. I don't know if you hear all
Mhm.
the buzzing and stuff, but
Right.
the sounds of nature, it's just once you get in harmony with nature, it
Man.
just feels great every single day, man. So I'm grateful and I'm blessed to be here. And I definitely love the platform that you created for yourself. And I love being able to support you and come on here and share my story. And it all goes full circle. You know what I'm saying? Me sharing my story, if it affects one person, then my job is done. So
So,
I'm
so
definitely excited to have this conversation with you today.
that's what's up. That's what's up. I'm happy you in good spirits, my brother-in-law, my family member.
Yes,
So let's bring it back from the beginning. Let them know, like, your beginnings, and where you from, and how did you change your mindset from negative to positive.
all right, that's a good one. I like that. So I had the beautiful, humbling experience of being raised in the projects of Las Vegas, Nevada, and you know I seen a lot of evil in the world and a lot of negative things. So naturally, I grew up with that mindset. And I used to think this world was not a very friendly place. And, going to moving to Dallas and stuff at the age of 16, got out of that environment, kind of got into nature a bit more. In Vegas, they don't really got trees. You know what I'm saying? It's mostly desert. So being in a new environment really sparked my growth. um, I kind of isolated a little bit because I really wasn't messing with, the Texas folk at first. I thought I was better than them per se, or I just didn't really like being. I carried that Vegas energy with me, uh, but I quickly, fell in love with Texas. I quickly fell in love with the people. I remember one day at football practice, the coach was like, God rest his soul, Coach Seastrunk. He passed away. He's no longer living with us, but that man was a huge impact in my life because I remember I went to football practice the first day, and he was like, "Your name Erik?" And I was like, "Yes." And he was like, "Go run a lap." And I was like, "What the fuck you mean?" And he was like, "When you talk to me, you say yes, sir." In that moment, I was just like, so much emotions came up. But I went to go run the lap, and I came back, and ever since then, yes sir, no sir, yes ma'am, no ma'am. Quickly learned what Southern hospitality was, the benefits of it, and then also like being able to embody that. So I feel like that was a small start to like shifting my mindset. And then, speed forward a little bit. I went through a few things in life, depression and anxiety, a lot of things that a lot of people struggle with. And I found myself getting medically discharged from college, not playing football, which was really the one of my only joys in life at the time. And I remember there was a experience where my girlfriend at the time had got sexually harassed at work. And I remember being in such a low vibration that I blamed her. I was like, why, what this, da da da, like you must have been doing something, like all this stuff. And I remember telling my mom about it, and she was not defending her, but she was just, like she's a woman. Nobody should touch a woman without their permission. And I remember slamming the phone down, like, fuck you, mom, like you don't get it, da da da. And I just started laughing because I was tired of being angry all the time and being negative about little shit that had nothing to do with me. It's crazy. We often try to create order in a world that we're not meant to control. You feel me? Like God already has all this beautiful plan for us. So all we can do is focus on what we can control is our thoughts and our breath. So I changed my way of thinking in that moment. And I'm not very religious, but I do have a beautiful relationship with our creator. So I'm highly spiritual and I believe in all religions. I feel like they all have some truth to them. But I remember one key thing that I hear in a lot of religions and whenever someone's giving me guidance is if you ask, you shall receive. So I asked the universe. I was like, send me a sign, send me wisdom. First, it started as a blame game, like why this, why that, da 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 da. And then, out of nowhere, I find this little flyer for this company. I ended up being a part of that company, been a part of that company for about 7 years now. And that was my first introduction to a positive, supportive community. And when you don't believe in yourself, if you surround yourself with people who believe in you, who could see things in you that you just can't quite see in the mirror yet, whoo, it's life changing. And that's exactly what happened for me. And that's really how my abundance started to flow and my mindset started to shift. Was I got into rooms with people who just genuinely loved life, who were they were worthy and they were working a worthy cause, and they were just loving on people. And I was like, wow, I didn't know that successful people you know were nice. I grew up thinking that they was assholes and you had to like fuck somebody over to get your money. But I soon realized, like, no, it's possible to be paid for the amount of love that you give into the world. And that's exactly what I try to do. And, even fast forward to last December, you know, I, I went on my way to try to help an individual, and the universe had other plans for me. And I ended up getting
Yeah,
stabbed.
okay. Hold on. I ain't trying
Okay.
to stop you right there. I ain't
Okay.
trying to stop you. We're gonna leave that part for a little
Okay.
later.
I got you. But yeah, just that's how the shift started, was just getting around people who cared, not
Okay.
only about themselves but about the world. And it taught me like, oh shit, I could be one of those people too. And I just started eating better and feeling better and just spreading that love out there. You know what I'm saying? So go ahead and hit me with another one because I'll throw out all the goodies.
All right, no, but so speaking of eating healthy, let the people know like the pros to eating healthy, the lifelong term effects,
Okay,
and like really preach on why we should start just even opening our minds to that type of lifestyle.
man. So that brings me back to how I love that you brought that up, because honestly, if I didn't start changing what I was consuming, I probably would have never changed my mindset. I probably would have still been an asshole, manipulator, liar, trying to fuck people up, do what I seen. I probably would have repeated the patterns that I saw growing up. But I changed what I was eating. 2014, uh, I decided to go plant based, and now I'm primarily plant based. I don't necessarily judge too much. Like if I want to have some chicken, if I want to have that, like I may indulge a little bit, but my body knows I don't necessarily feel good afterwards. So I just don't eat. I just eat whatever makes me feel good. But taking it back to the beginning, um, yeah, it's been like what 8 years since I've made that shift. Whew, just eating going from eating fast food and all the stuff in the grocery store, like you end up feeling like it. You know what I mean? If it's filled with empty nutrients, you end up feeling empty. And I think back to my most depressive years, I was eating empty nutrients. I was just surviving off of fast food, going to the grocery store, being fooled by the advertisement, thinking something was good for me, but in fact, it was filled with garbage. So now I primarily eat a lot of fruits. Like for breakfast today, I had blueberries and honey, and it's crazy. Like not even honey from the store, like raw, unfiltered honey from like the farmer's market. Um, and I love that going this path. Like I get a lot of my food from people like locally, like from farmers or from people that I know that grow their food. Like I even want to invest in growing my own, but I find when you cut out the middleman, your nutrients aren't stepped on. You know what I'm saying? Taking it back to the little hood preference, like they try to make it come up, so therefore they're gonna cut out all the good stuff for you. They don't want you feeling good because then therefore you won't need them. You know, you'll learn how to garden yourself, and you won't be going to the grocery store. But if someone's watching this and they're just starting out their journey and want to learn how to eat healthier, a trick that I used to use going to the grocery store is stay to the outer perimeter. Don't go in any of the aisles. If you go inside any of the aisles, it's filled with junk. But if you stay to the
That's some good
outside,
game. That's some good
primarily the
game.
produce department. What was that?
I said that's some good game right there.
Man, it is. You stay to the outside, that produce department, and then also try something new. Because if you don't like your life, so you have everyone, we have two choices every day: the familiar and the unknown. If you don't like your life, stop choosing the shit you're used to and just start stepping into the unknown. And I'll go more into that a little bit later, but when you embrace the unknown, that's really when you're allowed to like you shift timelines. Like you really grow into a whole different being and a whole different person. And like 8 years ago, if you would have told me that I would be this man right now, I would have probably laughed in your face. I would, blew smoke in your face or something. I was smoking heavy back then, but like now it's such a beautiful blessing realizing like, okay, every time I'm faced with a challenge or a decision or anything, I just choose what I'm not used to. And eating healthy is something I wasn't used to. So every day since then I just been choosing the alternative, so that's just my advice on that.
Okay, that's what's up. All right, so we're gonna get into your life changing event, but I just want to break it down in question form. You feel me? So
My bad. Hold on.
you good?
There you go, we good.
You good? All right. So like I was saying, like I want you to break it down, like okay, you know how some people always complaining and talking about things ain't right in their life, and they always taking shit for granted. I want to let you. I want you to tell people about this life changing event, and then your daughter being born like right after, and talk about your mind shifts and the tunnel vision. You know what I'm saying? You gotta have, and the things you had to, the obstacles you had to climb to become what you are like right now. Who we talking to right now?
Mm, all right, all right, cool. I think I got something for you. Hey, I had came sit next to this tree because something
Yeah.
I learned is like I said, once you fall, like a tree doesn't try to be anything but a tree. The sun isn't trying to be anything but the sun.
Mhm.
And I truly believe that we were created as human beings to be able to express that. The sun wants to know what good food tastes like. The tree wants to know what all this stuff tastes like, but they can't be anything more than what they are. So I really feel like our vessels were created so that we could come down to this realm and start experiencing life. Life is just one big expression. And I feel like we all go through and grow through the same things, just in different variations. And the more and more people I talk to, speaking about struggling and stuff, like a lot of people deal with the same problems. Like, and I remember vividly when I was in the struggle, um, like previously in my life before I adapted this mindset, I used to think I was so alone. I used to think I was the only one suffering. You know what I'm saying? But going to into the life event you were talking about, so it's crazy, man. It's a beautiful thing. I actually, I don't even know where I want to start. Let me just tell y'all about it. So I got stabbed 7 times by a complete stranger. 4 times in my head, boom, once in my arm, and twice in my knee. And it was a very traumatic experience. I ran from my assailant. I ran from him for about 15 minutes. I didn't realize I was stabbed, so I was losing a lot of blood. And there was a point where I was sitting on the side of the store waiting for the ambulance for everyone to come, and I was losing consciousness. I couldn't breathe. You lose so much blood, you lose a lot of oxygen. And I remember I couldn't breathe, and I just remember thinking, "All right, Erik, all them years you was depressed, all them years you wanted to kill yourself, this is your chance. Like, just go to sleep. Like, this is what you always wanted. Let's do it." But God would not let me go, because instantly in that moment, I was like, I identified that those thoughts were no longer serving me. So I said, "Thank you, but fuck you." Because our mind goes into fight or flight, and it always tries to protect us. And in that moment, I was trying to protect myself by just choosing the path of least resistance, because I knew healing was going to be hard. I knew getting through PTSD was going to be hard. Survival was going to be hard. But truth is, God knew I was a survivor, so therefore I survived. And everything happened in divine timing. They got there just in time. Put IVs in me, got me to the hospital. I remember being in the paramedics, in the ambulance. I remember the paramedics being like, "Yo, you look like you're in really bad shape right now, but your vitals are doing amazing." And I remember just joking and laughing and be like, "That's because y'all see blood, but I feel ocean water." I was like, I'm a mindfulness coach. Like, I was just telling them, I stayed true. I stayed grounded to what I knew I was, which was a beautiful being. So that was definitely my experience of hell for sure, because I'm a very hyper energetic guy. And for the first 5 weeks after I got stabbed, I couldn't walk. I had to use a walker and stuff, and I had to retrain myself how to walk. And that was a very humbling experience, because I had to learn how to surrender. I'm the type of guy who takes control and figures things out. But in that moment, I had to learn how to just breathe and surrender to healing. And I didn't go to physical therapy. I didn't do wound care. I didn't do any of the things that the doctors and hospitals recommended, because I trusted my body's natural ability to heal. And I just stayed in vibrating at a realm of love and just gratitude. I never shifted to victim mode. I never was like, why did this happen to me? What's going on? Like, you know, did I deserve this? All these things. I never did that. All I did was just recognize the fact that I'm alive and I'm healing. And so 5 weeks I couldn't walk. And then on the 6th week, I'm not gonna go too much into this part because I'm sure you're gonna ask me later. But on the 6th week, I flew out here to Austin, Texas, and I ran 3 miles with my brothers. So that it just shows me like, yo, you could really heal at a crazy rate if you just sit back and allow it to pass. Just like, for example, I used to be a very emotional guy. I used to get really worked up, really angry, and I learned throughout my journey, if you just feel your emotions and allow them to pass, everything gonna work out in the end. You're gonna be good. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? I'm able to smile through any season. And going to the birth of my daughter. So when I was stabbed, I was in the hospital room, and I remember seeing my baby mother come in. She was pregnant, 7 months in the belly. And I kid you not, I could feel my daughter's energy. I knew, like, it was just like I knew I would be all right. It was before I went to surgery. I was still like in the balance of if I was going to survive or not, according to the doctors. I knew I was going to survive, but, the doctors and stuff, they were a little skeptical of what was going on. And I just remember looking at the belly and feeling my daughter's energy and being like, oh, yeah, no, I'm going to meet you. Like, I made that commitment. I was connected. I was like, I'll be damned if I don't. Because if I would have passed then, my other two children, they would have been just fine. I poured a lot of love into them. But this baby, I didn't even get to hold. I didn't even get to see. I didn't even get to kiss on. So I was like, I'll be damned if I don't meet you.
Right.
And then also I was thinking of the Brotherhood. I was, and my brothers out here in Austin. I was like, I'll be damned if I don't go move to Austin and do all the things that I want to do with my life.
Yeah.
So speeding up to the birth of my baby, that was a very humbling and beautiful experience, because honestly, I was going through a position in life where I actually, oh, I gotta get up real quick, too many bugs. So yeah, I was going through a situation in life where I was kind of low on finances, and due to some poor decisions, I actually was about to get evicted from my beautiful home. And the day we were supposed to get evicted is the same day my daughter was born. And it's crazy because that's also the same day that the state approved our assistance, like pandemic assistance. And it was just crazy because, I went from stressing of being like, damn, I'm about to lose my house, my family's about to be out on the streets, to boom, my baby's born and everything's fine. It was, it was,
That's
it
that's
was
a
a,
hell of a that's a hell of a birth.
yeah, to be honest. And she was even born. I've been real big into, because like I said, I don't necessarily believe in one thing or the other, but I accept all things, if that makes sense. So when it comes to like numerology and stuff like that, she was born her birthday. It's the number two, and two stands for like change and like positive direction and like truth. You know what I'm saying? So the truth was, there was nothing to really worry about, and and even getting the eviction notice 30 days prior and all these things. I remember speaking with my partner, and just there was worry like in the conversation, and I was just grounded. And it may seem like I didn't care, but that's not what it was. I just knew that everything was going to work out in the end, and that's probably because I just made it through what I did, getting stabbed. But every version in my life, whether it be going through my depression, getting stabbed, or facing eviction, or any season of life, I'm able to smile because I just know that everything is going to be all right, because
Right,
I know what we really are. I have a saying that I said to myself when all that happened. I said, I'm remembering what I am and changing what I'm becoming by allowing what already is. And when you truly embody that statement, it's some powerful stuff. You know
right,
what I'm saying? Because you just give God the glory and you die to your flesh, and you realize all these worldly pleasures don't really matter in the end. Like, this is all one big game
right.
we call life.
Illusion. It's an illusion.
Yeah, yeah,
Right,
for real, for real. And a lot of people, what I'm saying, some people, they die, they don't wake up to it ever, and they die to that. But then it's to each his own. I
right,
stopped. I used to always spend time trying to wake people up,
right.
but now I just lead by example, and I just show people what's
Right,
possible when you realize the power that you truly hold. And then also, you always gotta give God the glory, no matter what you believe in: source, God, Allah, divine
right,
intelligence. You think we're space dust, whatever,
right,
whatever you believe in. As long as you have a strong connection with our Creator,
right.
the opposition can't touch you.
Yeah, you got to know God is within as well.
Yes, yes, for sure.
Right,
God is within and all around. You know what I mean?
right.
So yeah, for
But
sure, for
why
sure.
you, before we get on the brotherhood, I want to ask you to break down the three things you taught me that I ain't never gonna forget. You told me life is all about frequency, energy, and vibration.
Hmm.
Read
Yes.
real quick.
It's funny. I actually, you say you never gonna forget it. I forgot it. And that, before I get into that, that brings up something for me. It may seem small to you, like this call, for example. You know what I mean? It might be small to us, but
Right.
somebody out there gonna watch this and it could change their lives forever. And
Hell
just
yeah.
like what you just said, you said you'll never forget that, and I forgot it. It's a beautiful paradox. So, but going into what you said, Nikolai Tesla, look that individual up. He's a very, 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 very enlightened individual. Pretty much all of our technology comes from him. Um, yeah, really, really smart guy. And he said, if you want to know the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, vibration, and frequency. So, what does that mean? Well, what is energy? If you go to my Instagram page, you'll see my name on there. It's EriksEnergy, but my title is Everything is Energy. Because if you really think to the smallest particles, everything is energy. These trees, this wind that I feel blowing on my back right now, the sunlight, even us, we're just small particles of energy vibrating at a certain rate, and we appear to be still, you know. So vibration, you already know what that is. That's how fast something is moving. And then let's go to frequency. Whew, that's my favorite one. Because I realized that everything vibrates at a certain rate. So the different levels of rates, they're frequencies. And once you vibrate higher to a higher frequency, you actually attract things that match that frequency. So I used to always say I want to be rich, I want to be a millionaire, and all this stuff, but I was surrounded by broke individuals. So what was I? I was a broke individual. And then I increased my frequency, and I started vibrating higher, 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 and higher to a point where I really feel like I don't know, I got really close to God, you know, and now I'm receiving things in abundance, and I'll gladly share about my current experience. Actually, if you don't mind, I'll go into that real quick from
Go
that
ahead.
question.
Go ahead.
You said what?
I said, go ahead. Do your thing.
All right, so right now I'm actually in a season of life where I'm pretty much homeless. You know what I'm saying? I don't got a place to stay. Um, my finances were low. They're not low anymore thanks to the abundance that flows within me. But it was a crazy experience. Pretty much just decided to, I wanted to find my own. So I wanted to live somewhere. Like I wanted to stand on my own 2 feet. So I'm not gonna go into too much how I got here, but I will like share the experience. So as of Tuesday, I had nowhere to go. Like last week, yeah, like 7, 8, 9 days ago, something like that. I had nowhere to go, and old me, like I said, we always have two paths: familiar or unknown. So my familiar path was to just put myself in storage and tough it out, and be prideful and sleep at a park or do some weird stuff. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I did something that was unknown to me. You know, it was insane. I'm gonna put the phone down. I reached out. We'll talk about the group in a second, but I reached out to a particular group, and I raised my hand and I said, I need help. I need support. I don't need a hand out. I need a hand up. And it's been beautiful because ever since then, I went from not having a place to go, sleeping on the couch, having food in my belly, uh, water to drink. For my first 4 days, I was driving around in a Maserati. Like, how beautiful is God's grace? And then, I got, had my own. I went from a couch to a trailer to now I'm in my own room, and I'm still in the journey of calling in my permanent space. But it's just been beautiful what's possible when you surrender, and that brings me back to what I was saying about frequency. So a lot of people think in order to vibrate higher, you got to do more things in order to be successful, and like achieve things, great things in life, that you have to work harder. What I've been finding to be true for me is that you have to embody that God stillness. I just been meditating, and I just been knowing that things will work out for the better. Kind of takes me back to when I got stabbed, and I realized the less I do, but the more it's not about changing your thoughts. It's about guiding them, and um, it's not necessarily about like working hard for something as it is to just becoming a vibrational match. So I've just been making sure that my temple has been that of which of something that's just unfuckwittable. Like I'm just always grounded, and I'm feeling good all the time. So what does the universe give me in return? What does God bless me with in return? Good things. You know what I mean? Because like attracts like.
Right.
So, you can have all the money, you can have all that stuff right now, but if you don't feel good, pretty soon you may not have all that things. You know what I mean? And that's why I heard at the beginning of the year is are you willing to lose everything in order to gain everything? And I really feel like I'm living through that right now, and it's been such a beautiful testimony because I am willing to lose everything, and I have been gaining everything in return. It's been a beautiful paradox. So yes, energy, vibration, frequency. Start doing your homework on those things because they will change your life once you start realizing um, it's not about success or money. It's about just feeling good on the inside and doing good.
That inner peace.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
that energy. You know what I'm saying? That God energy.
Right.
You
Right.
know what I'm saying? And then also, like for example, the season I'm in right now, a lot of people play victim mode. I want to tell you guys something. And it goes along with the vibration and stuff. There's 4 different levels of consciousness. I might mess up a little bit, but let's see if I can remember them. The first level is to me. victimhood. Oh, life happens to me. Oh, why is this happening to me? Oh no. You feel small in that realm. The second step level of consciousness is to me as me, I think. No, by me, my bad. The second level, yeah, so to me and then by me. You feel me? You start realizing, you start taking your power back, and you realize things don't happen to you, they happen for you. They happen, yeah, not by you, for me. So they happen for you. Like, for example, on the outside looking in my current situation, people will be like, damn, your life's falling apart. No, it's
Right,
not. It's falling into place. And my message is my message. And that's why
right,
I share it gracefully.
right,
So it goes to me, for me, and then it goes as me. It's crazy because the more and more people I meet, I'm realizing everyone's a reflection of me and what I'm going through, or what I've gone through, or what I hope to achieve. Everything is a reflection. And then the last one is by me, or as me, or use me. And that's when you just, I'm in that realm right now. That's when you just completely surrender and you just say, all right, I give up. Like, don't give up like on life, but like give up trying to control life. And you just be like, all right, use me. What am I here for? What am I meant to experience? You know, what am I here to express today? And I'm not saying, a lot of people usually get the things I embody, they get twisted with being positive all the time. Fuck all that. Because life isn't positive all the time. You will still get life no matter how abundant, how high you're vibrating. There will always remain a harmony and balance in the world. So things will
right.
still happen to you.
Maybe even worse though, because
Yeah.
the world don't want you happy.
Well, see, like, see, that's another thing too. I'm glad you said that. So Einstein said a man's most important duty is to decide is if this universe is friendly or not. Like I
Right,
said, growing up, I used to think the universe wasn't friendly, but
right,
now the more and more people I meet, the experiences I've endured, I'm realizing, holy fuck, the universe is a hella friendly place. You feel
right.
me? So that's why, I mean, because yeah, there's always going to be a balance. Because this is another thing too. I actually just saw it on Instagram. It was a video talking about how one cannot truly be good until they've been evil. So in my mind, going through my depression, my negative beliefs, and everything I grew up in, like I felt very evil. And it's crazy. I mean, it's not crazy. It just makes perfect sense that now I feel good. You know, because you can't truly embody. Yeah, you could start off life being a good person, but then you're very naive, and those people get got. You know what I'm saying? And things be happening to them that are bad, and then they turn bitter, and then they turn evil, and then they redeem themselves, and boom, they're back. Because being in a state of love and gratitude, that's our natural frequency. That's the way that the world naturally is. So it'll always win. Love will always win, no matter what's going on in the world. Uh, but I just thought that was cool that you brought that up. Um, but
Yeah.
yeah, man. I'm,
But still, before you, we damn down here about 40 minutes. So before you head out, I don't know what your schedule like. Let them know about your Austin move and the Brotherhood and things you got coming up, in the future.
all right, bet.
Yeah.
So the Brotherhood. It's called Empower Brotherhood. And if you go on my social media, you'll be able to find it. I post about it often. But pretty much, it's a worldwide movement that I joined, and I want to take back a few steps real quick, and really share with you guys how I actually came across it. So back in 2020, I was able to find a really good job out there in Phoenix, Arizona. I was making it was like base pay was like 20 bucks an hour, but you could make up to 40 bucks an hour. And eventually I got to that point where I was making $40 an hour. And coming from where I come from, I felt pretty abundant. You know, I felt like that was good. And I would have easily gave them 20 years of my life because I was making $40 an hour. I had a pension. How many jobs you know nowadays that have a pension? And it was union based. So that means I couldn't get fired. I could slap my boss in the face and I wouldn't be able to get fired because the union would have had my back. But the same day that I actually got approved to join the union, it was like 6 months or whatever into my job, I actually walked away. I quit. I didn't put in a 2 weeks notice because I didn't want any type of like way for me to get back to that lifestyle. But the reason why I quit is because when I started my second baby was like 2, and then when I quit, she was almost 3, And I was like, yeah, no, I'm not missing any of their life just so I could provide for them and be miserable. And I was using work as I was numbing. I was working so much, making a lot of money, in hopes that it would make me happy. And I stopped doing the things that made me happy. I stopped eating good. I stopped, meditating. I stopped growing my personal business and myself. And I just worked all the time, and it made me miserable. It made me hate life. So I quit. I quit 420 2021 is when I walked away from that job. And I made the conscious decision to no longer work for anyone else. But this is where it gets tricky. I went through a few months of depression and regret because obviously the finances, the bills didn't stop. Just because I stopped working don't mean my bills stopped. And I
Right.
was paying, I lived in a brand new house out there, and I was paying some pretty hefty bills. And yeah, so I went through that experience of like not feeling good enough, and I made the wrong decision, and I should have just kept working and da 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 da. But I eventually put all those voices out my head and I was like, no, I'm doing this because like, yeah, I could have got another job, but then I would have been miserable again. So I was like, no, I'm working on myself so that I will never have to rely on anyone else again, and I'm taking back my power. So after 3 months of that, I finally got to the realm where I was like, oh, I'm I made the decision to not work for anyone else, but I didn't make the decision to start working for myself. So once I made that conscious decision to start working for myself is when I came across the Brotherhood. I found them on Instagram. It's mpb.movement on Instagram. And like I said, if you can't find that, then just go to EriksEnergy on Instagram, and you'll be able to find them through my page. But pretty much I found them and I recognized a few of the leaders, and I saw how much fun they were having. They work out every Thursday morning in downtown Austin, and and they have their shirts off, they're beating their chests, they're really being very primal, and having that inner child come out and that inner warrior, and they're really redefining what it means to be a healthy divine masculine in this world. And I also saw things of them crying and sharing and opening their heart space, and I was like this is a men's group, they over here crying and stuff. But then I realized, I was like, oh damn, that's what a true man is. It's okay. Like we have emotions too. Yeah, we carry the world on our shoulders, but it's okay to take it off sometimes and to allow others to support you. And that's why I don't use the word help anymore. I use the word support because it's more empowering, and it has more grasp to it. But yeah, so I ended up finding them. I actually joined the movement before I got stabbed, so I really know that the movement allowed me to heal through my process a lot quicker. Because, like I said, um, I joined the movement and it inspired me to level up my life. And I still was a little miserable in life, and it didn't make no sense because I was feeling good, making the right connections, planning on moving to Austin the year after or whatever. But I still was feeling bad. So I remember I prayed one night out to the moon, the universe, whatever, and I was just like, send me everything, good or bad. I'm ready for it. 2 days later, I got stabbed. Woo, it's crazy. So be careful what you're calling in too. So now when I say things like that, I go, send me everything good. I'm ready for it. I don't ask for the bad things anymore. I don't ask for the hard lessons. I'm allergic to hard lessons. I don't believe you have to go through things to, I don't believe you gotta get stabbed 7 times to know what it feels like to surrender. But that was just my journey. But either way, so I get stabbed, couldn't walk for 5 weeks. On the 6th week, I went to Austin, Texas for the first time. Beautiful out here. And I went to the 48-hour reset that they had. And one of the first exercises we had was we had to stand there, and we split into two groups, and we had to learn. It was pretty much about giving and receiving. A lot of people are willing to give a lot. That's me. I'm always there for everyone if they need it. But people don't like to receive. They get clinched up. So pretty much we had to close our eyes and receive a hug and love from another man. And I don't think I ever hugged another man in my entire life the way I hugged those brothers that weekend. Like I'm crying and stuff. We was hugging for like 5 minutes straight, feeling the stubble of the damn beard and stuff. It was crazy, man. Because
Wow.
they really were like, imagine it's your father, imagine it's your brother, imagine it's your son, imagine it's a friend who's gone. Like, and I just kept thinking of all my friends that passed away that I didn't get to say I love you to because of my pride. And I'm, and I thought about my father. I grew up not knowing my father. He passed away before I found out who he was. So, so many emotions came up, and plus I just got stabbed by another man, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So a lot of things were coming up, but I embraced that. It was a beautiful experience. If you go on their Instagram, you can see me slobbering and nose and crying. It was such a fun, powerful experience. But point is, like I said, couldn't walk for 5 weeks. I got out there, and then I ran 3 whole miles with my brothers. Like, come on, like what more do I have to show anybody? It's powerful. The power of community is insane. And that's why I moved my whole family out here. I go to the workouts, I go to the wisdom circles. The workouts, we work out our body. The wisdom circles, we work out our hearts and our minds, and we're being seen for the problems that we go through. Because usually as men, we're told to be a man, suck it up. But no one ever tells you what that means. So being able to go to these circles and these events and actually being seen deeply for who I am, allowing little Eric to come out and play. Like at one of the workouts, we played freeze tag. I ain't played freeze tag since I was 7 years old. So that brought out so much joy in me. That shit was fun as hell. Like, it was so emotional and beautiful. Um, so yeah, just the power of community is, and that's exactly, if you remember, that's exactly what sparked my growth in the first place, was getting around a positive community. So being able to find this new positive community and what we're doing for the world, it's a worldwide movement. I got brothers all over, but we're just based out here in Austin. It's been a very beautiful experience because no matter what, I know I'm good. I know I'm in good hands. Like even going through what I'm going through right now, I reached out to the community. You know, I was like, I need support and all this stuff, and some brothers reached out and they graciously helped me. And they didn't have to, but they did, and it's just been a life changing experience being able to be out here and being the man that I know I've always been, but I just forgot along the way. So, and there's nothing wrong with forgetting who you are and what you are, but if you're able to wake up, you gotta tell the world. You know what I'm saying? Not in hopes to wake them up, but just to keep yourself woke, to keep yourself. And that's why in this level of my life, I'm helping everybody right now because this is the most opportune time for me to serve because I'm going through it. You don't have to have it all together to help someone else. You just gotta be one step ahead of them.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
yes, sir.
That's
That's
what's
all I
up,
got for that
man.
for sure.
So, man, we appreciate you, spreading that knowledge, that wisdom, that courage, all that, shouting out the brotherhood, talking about your spiritual journey, giving advice to others that might be in your situation or, a worse situation.
Yes,
So
sir.
just to end it out, let people know where they can find you or contact you if they trying to, join the team, join the movement, whatever they got going on.
Okay, so my primary way to contact me right now is through Instagram. It's at EriksEnergy. Eric with a K. It's on the screen, but EriksEnergy, and as far as what I got going on, I am starting my YouTube and my podcast series. So definitely give me a follow, and especially if you want to be on the podcast, I love the platform that you've created, and
Right,
I truly believe that community is the new currency. So
right.
anybody and everybody is welcome to reach out to me.
I
Whether
definitely need a spot on there like ASAP. So
you
save
said
me a
what?
I said save me a spot on there ASAP.
Oh no, for sure, for sure. You already know.
Right.
But yeah, no, that's what I got going. I'm just continue building the brand and really just embodying everything I've been speaking about. I learned a lot of stuff over the 7 year journey of personal development, but I never truly started to embody it. And now that I'm embodying it, I feel like it's my duty to share it with the world. And yes, I'm starting my life coach career, so eventually I'm going to start charging people 10 racks a month. I had to think of a number that's big enough for me to be away from my family, but for right now I'm actually offering a lot of free connection calls, just getting to know people, hearing people out. Sometimes people just need someone to listen to their problems. Sometimes people need me to share my experiences to realize that their problems may not be what they are. You
Hmm.
don't succeed in spite of your challenges, you succeed because of them. So I'm here for everybody and anybody. And like I said, you guys could get in touch with me on Instagram at EriksEnergy, or you can even find my Facebook, Eric Dominique Dixon. You can tap in that way. But yeah, I'm all for any connections, and I'm very grateful for the platform and the conversation that we had today. It did a lot for me for sure, and I hope it did a lot for someone that's watching this.
Facts, facts. So man, we appreciate you, man. Salute. Whatever you need, hit me up. Let's connect. Let's, more content. That's the currency of the day, content. So
Hmm.
more content the better. So,
I
it's
feel
all
that.
good. So I'm gonna catch you till next time, bro. Much love.
All right, bro. Love you, man.
Yeah. Well, there y'all have it, man. Eric's energy. We damn near went a whole hour. And that's what it is. He gave us some good advice. Some it's a lot of things to help the community, people going through depression, um, mental health type situations. He just told y'all everything that's possible. You gotta put your faith in your higher power or your inner God, whatever you believe in, and everything will be all right. I wanted to share that with y'all this Saturday, and it's much love. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the YouTube channel, Boss Status Worldwide. We'll catch y'all on the next episode. Gone.